Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rooftop Perspectives, a LanceScurv show. If my memory serves me right, it's episode 107, but that's a technicality. I was up pretty late last night. I was getting a lot of work done, and it's been a good night, a good day. It's overcast and it may rain any minute now. So I'm under the threat of those drops coming down. And again, my equipment won't last too long if water hits it. I wanted to speak about how timid we are to stand up for ourselves, how timid we are sometimes and oftentimes to defend ourselves. Many times in situations, we tend to, not all of us now, right? But we tend to shut down or back down when faced with some opposition that really doesn't give a damn about us or our well-being anyway. And I feel that us as a people, we are so brainwashed with this philosophy that's embedded in us about turning the other cheek, that it's not, may I say, Christ-like to stand up for yourself and deal on the drop of a dime with the opposition just the same way they're dealing with you. Now, in law enforcement, which, as you well know, many of you know that I was a correction officer for a few years, that there's a thing called the force matrix. And the force matrix allows you to stop a situation that's coming at you, but only with the same level of force and or one step above, right? So if somebody's coming at you in an aggressive manner, and you see that they're upset, and you can't say on a report that they were angry, because if they, you can say they appeared to be this way, but you'd have to say or give the symptoms of what you see. They had their fists balled up. There was a vein bulging out of their neck. Their eyes were bulging. They were raising their voice at me. They appeared to be very much in an aggressive manner of communication, but you can't say the person was mad or they're angry, because you'll lose in court, and you don't have the right. You're not a person who can analyze this person, especially if you never met them before, right? So you have to put down what you see, okay? So pretty much, if you can ascertain that, you have to think in a manner, and we're talking about physical coming at you, but there's other ways of dealing with other things. We'll get to that if the rain allows me. But if you can explain that to a person and then also feel that or say that you felt that your person or your life was in danger, or you felt but you had to give the reasons why. They had their hands in their pocket, or one hand was in the pocket. I didn't know what they were holding on to. I didn't know what they had in their hands. Their hands were not visible. I was in a corner. They were approaching me, and as they approached me, they raised their voice. Their eyes were bulging out. They were raising their voice even more and more, and they were pointing their finger aggressively, with the other hand. You get the picture, but you can't just say, oh, they were angry. How can you prove that they were angry? Maybe they might have a health condition that has them moving this way or speaking loud, right? When you can prove to yourself and you know that they're angry, you know that they're coming at you a certain way, you have the right to defend yourself, and you have the right to go one step above in that force matrix. Now, what I can remember, there were 7 steps, and I know there are many people here who are in law enforcement, and yeah, I could have brushed it up, and I didn't know I was going to speak about the force matrix, right? But there's 7 steps, communication, gentle, friendly touch. If you touch someone, really you want to not touch anybody. Then you have where they're aggressive, and it goes on up to deadly force. I know that much. Deadly force. If they're coming at you and they have a knife or they have a gun, the gun pointed at you, you have a right to shoot them. If you want to be nice, you want to shoot them in their knees, shoot them in their hand, shoot them in one of the limbs where they'll live. You do that, but you're playing with your own life. You have the right to put it right here. You have the right to put it in where the vitals are, okay? And many people claim to know so much out here because they've had a gun in their hand and they don't even know how to clean it. They don't even know how to, I'll tell you an old story. When I was in corrections, when I was in the Correction Academy, I never had experience with guns. And there were many people who were in the service, military guys, who had all of this experience. They were talking about it. And there was a little funniness going on because they knew I was from New York City. They knew I had no law enforcement or military background. And they were talking about their experiences. So it didn't bother me because I did what the instructor told me. I learned the proper way. So when it came time to get out, in front of the target, and I followed everything down to a T, I didn't bring any bad habits with me. All I had was a clean slate, and I did what I had to do. As far as most people, they pull out a gun and they aim it, and they anticipate the blowback. They anticipate, the force pushing back. So they kind of push ahead of time as they squeeze. But if you really squeeze the trigger. But see, people in the street and in the movies, these guys holding the gun sideways and all this stuff, you're not going to usually hit your target. But, we have a lot of people out here who think they know so much. So I had done so well getting on the target, not only getting on the target before most people, but getting 2 or 3 shots off and in the target. And I wondered why. And people said, man, you're a liar. You have experience with weapons. You're just saying that. I said, no, I figured it out because I like to shadow box. I like to do those things. I'm very, very enthusiastic behind closed doors with my hands. I exercise like that even when I stop doing weights. I keep my hands moving, So my brain to hand relationship is tight because it's that muscle memory. It doesn't have to be about muscles per se, but movement. This is why in the martial arts, over and over and over, people think it's just about you getting out there and doing some fancy move. No, you have to do this thing over and over and over and over. So with that being said, the fact that I like to draw in detail. When I draw pictures, it's always in great detail. So when I looked at the bullseye, when I looked at the target, it looked like it was 10 feet taller than me because I'm used to seeing things detailed and drawing detailed and shading and precise work. So with the physical going on, getting my hand on the weapon, and with a Glock, when it's in the holster, you got to push down and forward before it comes out. That's a safety because if somebody snuck up behind you and grabbed it, right, they can't get it out. But most of these guys in the street don't know that, right? I had done so well over the course of those months with the weapon training, the physical training, knowing how to hit certain pressure points, all that stuff, that the SWAT team had reached out to me there. They said, wait a second. Once you finish your year working in the jail, we need you to come out and join the police department, and we're going to put you right in the SWAT team. We see your talent, we see your ability, but that's something I never wanted to do. I never wanted to do that. I never wanted to be out with the other guns. I like being able to keep the gun with me when I was transporting an inmate, to the hospital or to some type of investigation, right? So that's pretty much where it was for me. But other than that, like I said, you have a lot of guys out here, yeah, I'm a gunman, but you have no training. You have no, and then you talk these things to somebody who has training and you look like a damn fool. You know what I mean? Because when you're really in battle, we used to have there was a house set up and we had fake weaponry, right? That shot out something to hit the person. But we had to put the vest and stuff. So we had to know how to get into a house, where there was a threat, but they didn't tell us. And how strategically we had to move. And for weeks, months, we did that. So that's ingrained in me, and that's why I think the way I do. But just holding a gun and shooting it off a couple of times does not make you a trained professional. So understand that when you deal with people in the street who, because they are holding a gun, they think they have power, they do not have training, and just practicing shooting is something, the things that you have to have in your head while you do this, so when the stress of a situation really hits you, they don't have. How about getting hit and still having the presence of mind to move forward and do what you have to do? So this is why you don't really want to mess with guys who are trained that way, and I wouldn't want to either because you have different levels of training. I know there's a lot, I forgot about the force matrix. Yeah, okay, you're gonna forget about these things. But I respect anybody who has training, and I would not think just because I have a gun in my hand, I could just come at somebody. And I said all of this to say this, that you have the right, if anybody's coming at you any kind of way, even the fact that they're mentioning that, oh, I'm this and I'm that, okay. Now I know you're on that level, so you claim that might be dangerous to you because you don't know what kind of training I have or the next person has. So this is why with the unknown, I don't mess around with it. I leave it as it is, and I try to de-escalate a situation and keep it, you know. Now, if a person came at me with a knife and I have a gun and they come closer, you're splitting hairs because of the situation. He may get a good lawyer, and they may say in court, well, why didn't you run up? The door was near you, why didn't you just run? If he was way across the room and no threat to you, because not too many people are professional knife throwers, right? Why didn't you run? Why didn't you back down? Why didn't you disengage in the situation? So like I said, things in these situations happen so fast that your training, your mind, how you train your mind has to be on point, because you have to think about these things, right? So I have many friends of mine who been police officers and are retired, and I learned so much from them. And I'm nothing compared to them as far as their training is concerned, right? So you have the right to protect yourself, but if you shot this guy dead and he was across the room in the door, or you were in the doorway, why didn't you run? Why didn't you make an attempt to get away? When all he had, you saw both his hands, and you saw him, maybe he could have had a gun otherwise, but keep your eye on him and back out. Now, if he pulls out something else from a distance, you have a right to pull yours out. Or maybe you can pull yours out in a way to prevent a situation, because he sees that you have something that can get to him by the time he comes to you. We have to think. I remember also there was a way of training our minds that they had a situation on videotape where they had the camera up, different angles and stuff, and this young man had come into a small shop, a small store, a general store, had everything in it. And the instructor said, listen, I want you to observe this situation closely. He didn't tell us why. So after we watched this guy rob the guy and get away, they cut the videotape off. Okay, I want you to write down what it is that you saw in detail. And they had a few questions that they put up on the board about the scenario. And what it was that, you know, could you give an approximate age? Of course it was a male, you know, a description. What kind of pants did he have on? What kind of shirt did he have on? What time was it? You know, and people were like, what do you have? And they put what they felt was there. One person said, oh, he had striped pants. Okay, were the stripes going horizontal or vertical? What color were the pants? What kind of shoes did he have on? Most people said, I didn't even realize the time. Well, it was 1:35 on the clock. When you see a clock and something is happening, or you see something happening, even if it's not you involved, pull out your phone and look at your watch to see what time it is. Recall as much of the situation as you possibly can. If you do have a phone and something bad is going on, hit record. Even if you only get a piece of it from a far distance, they have the technology to zero that stuff in. I'm going off the point now, but all I'm saying, when something goes down, you have to be observant enough that even when something is happening, that you recall. That way you can nab the person down the line and also protect yourself. Because if you nab this guy, he can't come back at you. But to be observant when things go down. Now, again, like I said, that's an extreme situation, but physically you have the right, when it's deadly force, to protect yourself. So don't second guess and stop this mentality of feeling as though, you know, I'm a loving person. I'm a person who likes to protect people. I'm not Superman, but I don't think about going out and doing things to people. I'd rather talk things out. You can get a person who's a midget with bad intentions, a little person, and they can raise hell. They grab a knife, stab you up, put a screwdriver through your eyeball, whatever, and realize what weapons you have that may not be official weapons. You may not have a knife, but keep a screwdriver on you. If somebody gets up on you, you can put it to their eye. But do you have the balls enough to do so? Remember, if they're coming at you and they're coming at you to do harm to you, you're going to let them do harm to you? You're going to let them leave you in a way where you're less able to take care of yourself and your family just because of a philosophy that renders you impotent in that situation? No way. I'm not doing it. That way you must have a reserve of a vicious mentality. Vicious. You have to have killer instinct. It does not mean that you're a killer. But if you have children, you have a wife, you have parents that are alive still, whatever, friends, responsibilities, so much hinges on you. You're going to let this person take you out when so many people depend on you? So you have to think, not only are you trying to hurt me, you're trying to hurt my kids, because if I'm not here and can take care of them, they're going to be in a bad situation. My wife, my woman, or whoever is going to get this bad phone call and it's going to hurt her. So you're trying to hurt my whole bloodline, all my inner circle, my tribe, because you want money or you want revenge on something that you perceive the wrong way, right? So we got that physical part out of it. On a spiritual level, we can't let people run over us. These people, many people who are smiling in your face, that have bad intentions, just like Sister Ambia said, you don't know who's who out here. You don't know who is who out here. So when it's somebody that you're not used to dealing with, that's coming with a smile, they could be the most genuine person in the whole world. But they can have death and destruction in their mind for you because they are so envious of you. And sometimes they mask it so well, it takes years for it to come out. But once they show their hand, like in a card game, and you see the hand by mistake, they may turn around and say, hey, the phone rang for me, or could you bring me something to drink? And you look at their hand, you say, whoa. Once they show their hand and recoil, and they think you're stupid enough to accept them again, right? That's on you. Because anybody who shows their hand at me, or I peep something, or they do something, do you think that they're not the same person? You know, or they want to feed you words that it's all love and, you know, we got to get along and that was whatever. Now, sometimes in your circle, you're proven people, you may get angry at each other in a minor way. And that's not a problem because you have a long lineage. But these people who you don't even know, who just come around you, how could you vouch for them when you don't even know them? How can you vouch for them when they are people who lived their whole life married to a woman, had 4 and 5 kids, they retired now, and the wife finds out they're gay, right? That's not always the situation, but people hide things so well. Stop accepting things on face value and vet and test the spirit. Oh, there's some people out here who have been so good in their deception and held their jealousy of me for so long, but once you show your hand, you can never go back. And yes, I do have killer instinct. And no, I can be very much not a nice person. That if you're laying down there dead, dying, and you need something from me to live, I'm sorry, I'm stepping over you because you have the same feelings for me. I might play the game, hey, how you doing, man, whatever. Yeah, my mind, you showed your hand, stay where you are. There was a meme that I saw that said, the only thing that I require from jealous people, envious people, is distance. Keep some distance. Don't keep these people with bad spirits and a bad mind up in your face all the time. If I'm married to someone, like I'm married to Mrs. Scurv, and I know that there's a person, a woman or man, that does not like Mrs. Scurv, that hates Mrs. Scurv, but they smile a little bit, but they don't like her. Me as a husband, I'm going to be friends with these people? That's sick. That means I'm her enemy. That means that, you know, we have people who are like that will tell you, oh, they'll tell their husbands, or the husband tells the wife, oh, she I know she doesn't like you, but she didn't do anything to me. I'm supposed to be down with you. We're supposed to be ride or die. And I'm going to go run with these people? Hell to the no. Hell to the no. Not once they showed their hand to me or to my wife or to my children. Keep away from these people, and may they drop dead when they wish death on you. And you have to understand, that there are many people who want to get close to you so they can work their magic on you. We have a lot of people who want to think they do spiritual work and don't know what the hell they're doing because they're not right within themselves. I've had a lot of spiritual work done to me or at me since I came here to Africa. And the way I'm thriving. And when I look at their personal lives, I say, man, they messing themselves up because they're the ones going through drama. They're the ones going through losses. They're the ones going through whatever. And after you break with these entities who think bad enough for you to go and try to cast a spell or do something, when you're living right, you're protecting yourself. But when things happen for them, don't you ever feel bad for them because they had death for you. They don't want to see you thrive. You have the right to protect yourself at all times. And the best way is to disengage and stay away from these people that carry these bad spirits towards you. Usually they're not doing what it is that the Creator put them here to do. They get involved in the gossip. They get involved in the status in the world, not knowing that this life is quick, because this is a test. This is an assessment, just like when you go to college or you want to go to a college. And it's been years since you've been in school, so they want to assess your abilities in math. They want to assess your writing abilities to know that if you might need a remedial class to bring you up to par so you can absorb more out of what your major is, you see? So when they're like this, don't waste any time, but protect yourself, protect your mind. This is the first and foremost attack. You'll be attacked in your mind first, and the majority of the time, more so than getting stabbed and shot or somebody trying to work some worthless foolishness on you, when the real Creator, the Almighty, that put you here for a mission. He put you here for a mission. And you mean some little entity who can't even get their life together goes and foolishly pays somebody who just wants money for them to do something to you? Ooh, this. You know what I mean? Ooh, this. Because I know, even at my age, I may not have the longest wind right now. I may not have the longest reach, but if I put these big fists across your jaw, you go into sleep. And I have confidence in that. And this is something that I know because it's not anything that I haven't done before in my life. But you'll hear about those stories one day. I don't like to talk about that stuff. I'm not on that level. I'm not on that low vibrational, I'm this tough guy level, because I can get beat down too. Just like I got beat down by those 11 police officers on 89th Avenue and Parsons Boulevard, January 26, 1989. Y'all know that story. I'll never forget that. Right? I'll never forget that. So you mean if 11 police officers beat my face to a pulp, choke holding me, the chokehold that killed people, and I'm still here, pulling my hands and grabbing my nuts for about 3 or 4 minutes, punching, what, 11 of them? And I didn't have any defense? So you mean I'm gonna be scared of one man? I'm not scared of no man. No, not no one man. If there's 20 of them, maybe they may get me. But my mind has been conditioned from a negative situation. One person? I know I can take a butt whipping, but can you take what I give you? Because see, it ain't no yap, 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 yabba, 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 whatever. If I have to get to that point in my mind, the killer instinct comes out. And if I feel threatened or you put your hand on me, it's a whole different thing. So let people run their mouths. You're welcome to try me. I'm a peaceful man, but you're welcome to try me because, like I say, I know that I have the right to protect myself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and whatever category you want to use and say. Stop with this turn the other cheek thing. Stop being shocked when people show you their true face. When they show you their true face and their true intentions, you're supposed to click, snap, get right into battle mode. I could be somewhere relaxing, sipping on an iced tea, because I don't drink any liquor. I don't smoke any of this weed or whatever. I could be relaxing and damn near half asleep. I could be post-orgasmic and I see a threat. Well, guess what? I'm right there with you. I don't have to, oh man, whatever. The things that have happened to me in my life have trained me for this. aside from some academy, law enforcement academy. Had a guy, this was in August of 1980, climb up in my room. I was 17 years old. I think I broke one of his ribs, but I let him out. I let him go. Long story. Those of you who have heard, you know, I'll tell it again if you want me to tell it, but let me know. You know the story. Then the very next night, I'm riding with a friend on the bike, and this car pulls up next to me with a girl in the middle, and they have a gun in his lap, and 3 people sitting in the front seat. It was a black Ford Falcon. It was on Hillside Avenue, Jamaica, Queens. And I heard them. Is that him? Yeah, that's him. The girl was crying. I already knew that somebody raped the girl or did something, and these brothers were going to come and try to shoot, but it wasn't me, right? So anyway, now I turned that bike around I was riding on and jumped down in the subway and stepped over those third rails and a few rats too. So these things condition your mind that no matter where you are, it's not that you don't feel safe, but you know it can happen so quick. No matter where you are, you must be on point. Whether you're sleeping in the bed, you hear a noise, whatever. These things happen. I've had spiritual attacks come at me, right? And it lets me know pretty much the way I live, pretty much know where it's coming from. Because you're doing what it is that you're supposed to do. You're in your lane, you're executing, you're exuding, and these people are jealous because they're not going anywhere because they're so busy watching you. You know what I mean? You know, I don't take people on a false word when we don't have anything in common. We don't call each other. We don't hang out. We don't have dreams and aspirations together. Hell, they don't have dreams and aspirations. They talk it, but sometimes people will talk a good word to get in your life. And ladies, a lot of men will talk a good word to get in your life in between your legs or inside of your mouth. Let's just call it and say it what it is. You know I don't hold back. I tell it like it is. So when you find that somebody's coming at you, you have the right, oh, let's just be quiet and keep the peace. Strategically, I'll keep quiet on certain things because we have a thing called timing. And sometimes you're supposed to just let it all out. Because everything done a certain way in the dark will always come out in the light, right? But you have the right. Too many of us are waiting for something to come from out of the sky, bust through the clouds, and I'm going to protect you. Oh, let's let it go. The white Jesus will take care of us. Listen, if you have a business and you hire somebody and you know what the terms are, or you read your Bible and you know what the terms are, what they say is going to happen, wouldn't Jesus, the white Jesus, be a no-call, no-show on the job? What you going to do? He never shows up. Slavery, bad things happen. People getting lynched and killed and murdered, and men beating their wives and killing people, and governments putting bad things in food to kill off a whole people, raping and robbing and death, domination, and destruction. And this God that you claim that loves you so much doesn't show up to protect you? Do you do your wife this way as a husband? Do you do your husband this way or your children this way as a wife or a mother? No call, no show? That ain't never gonna happen. You sitting here, I'm gonna wait on Jesus. And somebody's robbing you. Somebody's using you. Somebody's bad-mouthing you. They bad-mouth you, it's your right to blow them up and tell the deal what it is. This is why a lot of folks are very uncomfortable around me, because I will say it. You push me, if I choose not to, it's because I choose not to. But if you push me, I'll put it out there right in your face and dare you to do something. That's the way I am. I'm an old school New Yorker. I don't know about these other ones who may be watered down or washed down. I'm not saying everybody in this age group, but I come from that era where there's a loyalty thing, there's an honor thing. You break the code, you get your ass whipped. And I don't like getting my ass whipped because I can get my ass whipped. I'm not Superman. But when you're right about something, you have the right to defend yourself and not let people walk all over you. Too many of us are perpetual pincushions. We're perpetual heavy bags where people can punch on us and say things and we'll always take them back because it's the godly thing to do. Every animal out in the so-called wild, which is not the wild. This is the wild, the man-made, and I always say it, the man-made existence in the world. Certain little animals have big teeth. Certain animals have claws. Certain insects, you might kill them, but there's a venom that if they bite you, or even if you kill them and it gets on your hand, you rub your eye swells up. Everything in nature, by the Creator was given a way of protecting themselves. And here you are with the intelligence to know what's coming at you. You let people slide at the time. Maybe it's not always for you to get revenge at the time. Sometimes you got to let the revenge build up. And when this person or people have enough karma coming at them, it hits them down. You don't have to do anything. But you don't feel bad about doing something when you do it. Stop waiting for somebody to help you or do something for you that you should do for yourself. I do not feel guilty if somebody's coming into my house to snuff out my family where they lose life. Buddy, you better hope I don't get to you first. Because I can't take this screwdriver and push it in the eye. Man, I'm trying to push it in the eye, and I'm going to keep pushing it until I see the other part of it come out the back of their head. And take joy in that. Because you're trying to wipe me out. You have bad feelings toward me. I will do to you 10 times worse what you think you can come to do to me. Leave me alone. I just want to live a peaceful life and be a pleasant person and the pleasant person that you know me to be. But you always have to have that edge on you and be ready to protect and defend yourself at all times. Much love to my brothers. Much love to my sisters. Yeah, brothers, I love you too. Not in some homo way, but there's a love when you're righteous and you're trying to do the right thing. And a lot of us are feeling around for the light switch and trying to do right. We can come from a place of being off or being wrong in our judgment and assessment and better ourselves if we seek to do so. But if you see someone who's never trying to get better, doesn't want to acknowledge what they've done, they can drop dead somewhere and I'll be happy, enjoying my day. But I have no venom for anyone. Never allow that. Just boom, boom. They come at you, you take care of the situation and skip to the next part of your life and enjoy your day. Because I'm one of them people, I can do that and go home and enjoy a dinner, have peace of mind, go to sleep, knowing that I'm going to awaken to a beautiful day that I did not allow anybody to threaten or take my life or ruin my life on a spiritual, mental, emotional level. Never that. And maybe this might look radical to you, but it makes sense. No more you should sit here, well, I can't say anything. Especially with dysfunctional families, they always want to, this is how the dysfunction continues because you're not protecting yourself. You fall into order. That's another thing with this whole thing we can talk about. It's not just somebody with a knife or a gun or coming at you. It could be your own family. Cut the ties with them if they have that kind of spirit in them, because after you get to a certain age, you're merely DNA sharers. You merely came through the same portal, but as you go out into the world, you have your own personality and you also have your own spirit. So just because you can say, yeah, back when we were 7 years old, we did this and that, doesn't mean that there's that same camaraderie from their side of the same feeling. You just as much of a stranger as any other stranger, possibly. There's always some siblings that do stick together, but you can have some that they could be worse than your worstest. I'm like Muhammad Ali, the onlyest, right? Your worstest. They're your worst enemy. Something distracted me down there. But anyway, just want to say that was my word for the day. That's what I woke up feeling. And look into it. Looking to see how quick you are to defend yourself. Some of us defend other people, but never defend ourselves. I'm waiting for the next one to come at me. So whatever you come, I'm going to go one step over the force matrix. And as I'm doing it back, I'm going to be mindful to know that I can write it down on paper, which many of us don't know how to skillfully write a scenario that happened, because I'm going to do it in a way that I will be writing it. So there'll be no flaws. And this goes with anything. And I'm going to go deeper on this subject. I just didn't have enough time. I just want to touch it briefly. But I think I went over a little bit, which is no problem because I love you all. And I just want to say it's going to be a wonderful day, whatever you're in or going through as far as a challenge. Understand that every challenge has a solution. I don't like to use the word problem, but I'll say it that way. Every problem has a solution. You just don't know or might not know what it is right now, but there's no problem on this earth, no challenge on this earth that there's no solution for. But the answers always come to you. It doesn't come to you always the way you expect. So you hunker down in the trenches, in the battle mode. Be receptive to the signs coming at you, but the answer will come if you're seeking it out. Okay? Anyway, much love to you all. On to the next one. More content coming on later on. LanceScurv out.